Hi everyone, Teddy Baldassar here, and I am joined by a special guest. I have Hugo Giacomi with me from, did I say it right?
Yeah, Hugo Giacomi.
Giacomi.
Yeah.
So, the Parisian Gentleman. And can you tell people first about your channel but just to say what we're doing here today, I brought a natural French-speaking gentleman who can speak to a world of fragrances that commonly are, I would say, at least from the brand perspective, coming from some French influence, or French-speaking influence.
Of course.
And I wanted to lean on you to help us talk through some of that today, but please give some background first before we give you the stage on how to pronounce these.
No problem. My name is Hugo Giacomi. I'm 18 years old. No, I'm joking. I'm a little bit older than that. And I'm the founder of a website called Parisian Gentleman, and it became a book, and 2 books, and 3 books. And I specialize on men's style, classic men's style, what we call the sartorial world. It's anything which is custom made. All our work is to look for the best artisan in every sector of our field: suit making, shirt making, tie making, shoe making. Always obsessed with artisanship, craftsmanship, artisanal brands, and we try to do modestly try to give a share of voice to the people who didn't have a share of voice before us, because all the big brands, they can afford advertisement, little atelier can't. And this is how we started in 2009, and now we have an whole ecosystem with the blog, The Parisian Gentleman, 2 YouTube channels, Sartorial Talks in English, Discussion Sartoriale in French, and then 3 books so far, 4 books actually, all reprinted several times, even in a smaller version now, so that the people can have it around the world. So The Parisian Gentleman, The Italian Gentleman, and the last book was on shoes. It's called The Art of Male Footwear. So, well, we are pretty much active, just as you are, Teddy.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, the ground rules for today, and I'm going to get out of the way because unfortunately I try my best, but I want to lean on you to help us guide through this. I've selected around 20 or so brands that I'd like you to speak us through. Yes. So what we'll do is we'll present them to you, and then you'll talk to the camera and help the people at home on how to pronounce that from a native tongue of the French language.
And maybe give 1 or 2 information on each brand, on which I know, because
Absolutely.
We don't have any. We have a little bit of a perfume section on our Sartorial Talks. It's held by my son, as a specialist, but it's not our specialty. But we know a thing or 2 on French perfumery, because on my first book, The Parisian Gentleman, we dedicated 2 chapters to perfumery with Guerlain and Caron. But we're going to come to this very soon.
Let's get started.
Okay, so the first one is Guerlain. So no Guerlain, no Guerlain, very easy. A fantastic perfumer, probably the most iconic perfume house in the world, which is a real perfumer. Habit Rouge, Vetiver. So it's a beautiful, beautiful brand of perfumery, Guerlain. The next one is Caron. Very simple. Caron with the famous Pour un homme, for a man, which is an iconic fragrance, so it's very easy to pronounce, Caron. Next one is Yves Saint Laurent. Everybody knows how to pronounce Yves Saint Laurent, I suppose. Very famous, of course, the most famous perfume by Yves Saint Laurent is Opium. This is an iconic perfume, Opium, by Yves Saint Laurent. Next one, this one you don't need my help. I know you say Chanel, but it's Chanel. From the name of Coco Chanel, of course, with the most, I think it's the biggest sale of all times in perfume is numéro 5, the Chanel. Number 5 of Chanel is the biggest, the most successful perfume of all times, numéro 5 de Chanel. Next one, well, this is one of the pride of France. It's now the name of a group, it's Hermès. So Hermès was the Greek king of flying. I think he had some wings on his foot, and so Hermès, Eau d'Hermès, Eau d'Orange Verte. All this is a beautiful brand, of course, from a luxury group in France. Goutal. So I think the real name, maybe they changed to Maison Goutal, but the real name is Annick Goutal. Annick Goutal, named after the founder. She passed away in the late 1990s. She was a very important woman. And the first perfume, if I remember well, is called L'Eau d'Adrien. Adrien is probably a guy she knew, so she made a water for him. And you have also Petite Chérie. Petite Chérie is like Little Darling in English. I think it's a tribute to her daughter, if I'm right, and her daughter who is now the nose of Annick Goutal in Paris. So Frédéric Malle, you can have some, for example, my wife is wearing Eau de Magnolia by Frédéric Malle. This is beautiful perfume. You have also Portrait of a Lady. This is bizarre because it's, it's in English. You have Musc Ravageur. That's a very interesting, Musc Ravageur. I can't translate that, but it's very French. So Frédéric Malle is a publisher of perfumes and he's very famous in France because his uncle was a very famous movie director called Louis Malle. And by the way, just for the little sake, his father created Dior Parfum. His father created the perfume for Christian Dior. The first perfume by Christian Dior was created by the father of Frédéric Malle, or his grandfather, actually. Next one. Atelier des Ors. Well, I'm not very familiar with this brand, but I know how to pronounce it. Atelier des Ors. Or is the gold. Atelier is an atelier, so Atelier des Ors. I saw that, unfortunately for me, all their branding on their perfumes is Black Collection, White Collection, Riviera Collection, so they use a little bit of English, which is a sin in France. When you're French, you don't use English words. We are trying to protect our language because, you know, the English people, they don't need to study another language. Why? Because with English you can go anywhere in the world, but what French? No? So we are protecting our language. So I will call Atelier des Ors and tell them that Black Collection, White Collection, Riviera Collection doesn't seem very good, and I'm sure it's very good perfume. Next one. Oh, I can tell you that this one is probably extremely challenging for you people. So it's about a guy called Francis Kurkdjian. Very easy, sounds easy. Francis Kurkdjian. So I give you a little trick. If you see a name finishing by IAN, like Kurkdjian, it's probably because this man is from Armenia. The vast majority of people from Armenia have a name finishing by IAN. The next one, in French, the next one called Le Prochain ou La Prochaine, Lancôme. So now we go into mass market because Lancôme. Alors, you see there's a little hat on the O. So Lancôme, Lancôme. It's like, for example, you know the plaza, the place in France, in Paris, where all the jewelers are, like Van Cleef & Arpels, Boucheron. It's Place Vendôme, with the O and an accent. Lancôme, Vendôme. Now let's move to a complex one. I'm pretty sure you guys are struggling with this one. Diptyque, very easy. Diptyque means two things, diptyque. In French we have the word also triptyque, will mean three things. Okay, beautiful brand, a little bit more, I was about to say snob, no. Artisan brand, like the name. These people are not very simple, but they do some tremendously creative perfumes. You probably know this brand. It used to be Givenchy, one of the most important fashion brand for women back in the years. It was created by Hubert de Givenchy, who just passed away. He was the best friend of Audrey Hepburn, very famous guy. Hubert de Givenchy, very elegant man. Now they have two divisions. I know that the fashion is on one side, Givenchy, perfumes and whatever care products on the other side. And they have one also which is kind of close to my heart, not in terms of quality but in terms of name, because they have Gentleman by Givenchy. The next one, this man just passed away 2 months ago, Thierry Mugler. Very strange animal, Thierry Mugler. Of course, once again, I don't know why we are doing this in France. We have such a beautiful language and we are using English. His most famous is Angel. Okay, sorry. And I can't say anything wrong because he just passed away and he was a good guy. But why do you use English name Alien, Angel? This is English stuff, not for us. Okay, sorry Thierry, but I'm sorry. I have to pay tribute to him because he passed away. It's a beautiful, but it's not totally my style, even of perfumes. Let's continue. Le Labo. Well, it's easy, Le Labo. So Teddy told me it was a French creator and it's an American brand. Right? Well, this is the new brand of people, you know, making some kind of customized things for you, as far as I know, and they don't sell you only one perfume, but like an array, a range of things around him. So they have, they name their perfume, like for example, Santal, like the wood, Santal, and then Ylang. It's very easy, okay? So it's Le Labo. Next one, and okay, Cartier is a jeweler. well, let's be blunt. You know, the perfume is some kind of a not on the side, but they're not very famous for perfume, even if they probably do some very high quality perfumes. But for me, Cartier is most and for all, you know, mostly a jeweler, and also in watch they're quite powerful. Ooh, I like this one, Serge Lutens. So no need to do Serge Lutens or no, Serge Lutens. Very simple. So on the next one, as I don't know this brand, I don't want to make, in my opinion, it's called Montal. Very easy because the creator is Pierre Montal. So if he's French, it's pronounced Montal. But I don't know if in their marketing they want to pronounce it Montale. I don't know, but I think it's more Montal. Montserrat. In French, you pronounce Montserrat. But I'm pretty sure in Italy you can Mancera or, you know, in Italy. But I would say Montserrat. Who doesn't know Jean-Paul Gaultier? Very important fashion designer in France, very famous for Le Male, the male, who's been created by Francis Kurkdjian that we talked about. And I think this is the first time in the history of perfume that the bottle is more famous than the juice. Oh, this is a beautiful brand. Lalique, very easy. Lalique. So you have to understand that Lalique is, first of all, it's from Switzerland. Huh? It's not exactly from France. This is the #1 brand in crystal. And this is what they do. And they also do a little bit of perfume. Very easy to pronounce. Lalique. So let me do it quickly for you once again. Guerlain, Caron, Yves Saint Laurent, Chanel, Hermès, Annick Goutal, Frédéric Malle, L'Atelier des Ors, Francis Kurkdjian, Lancôme, you remember Lancôme, Diptyque, Givenchy, Thierry Mugler, Le Labo, Cartier, Serge Lutens, Montal, Montserrat, je suppose, Jean-Paul Gaultier et Lalique. I give you an appointment to the next episode of Teddy Baldassare Show. Baldassare! Sorry. Show. Bye-bye.